Hey, look at you. Once again, you fell your ass straight into hell of Vella. Found yourself another Lawless interview. I'm Azrielle Lawless, and today I'm here with Liz Bullard, who's going to tell us all about her Vellas. But I've got to hit her with the first question. And here we go, Liz. When did you get started writing?
Oh, that's such a good question. So I will say I got started writing last year, which was 2021. And it was kind of like refinding a lost love. And
Really?
absolutely. So I was talking with a friend about, kind of like, is your nightly routine enough, right? Like you get home from work and like, is your self-care routine enough, right? After, the things you see and the things you endure, right? So I wanted to be more intentional about my self-care. And so she invited me to her writing group, Morning Muse. And it was like literally every day since maybe March of last year, have been writing, and it has been a wonderful experience of like just refinding that passion.
That joy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, how do you feel about the editing process?
Oh my. Oh, there's nothing to prepare you for that. So like I am newly in the editing process. So literally and I'm sure we'll get into this. I finished my first Vella Prophecy Trilogy Portal and I sent it to the editor. And now I have friends that, they write books, they edit, and they're like, get your ice cream ready. And they didn't lie, right? So you get it back, you question, your whole existence as a writer. And you have your ice cream, you get through it, you solve the problems that your editor has
I
has
don't know
presented.
what ice cream is.
Well, you either first you scream, then you go and you get you some a pint of vanilla Haagen-Dazs, and like you're golden.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, and that's how editing is going. It's going up, down. Right now, I feel like okay, I'm in my groove.
So you say that you started writing again, you reconnected with this love of writing. When
Mm-hmm.
did you first have your first dalliance with it?
Oh, so like my earliest remembrance of writing would have to be like literally as a kid, maybe like 10 years old. I I started writing this story about like a unicorn and there were like chili dogs and like I don't know, it was just like this story as a kid of all the things that you love in this story. And then, life happens, right? And you leave it alone, you walk away from it, you kind of say, okay, I have to like find something that makes you money, right? And so you do that. And so that was kind of like the earliest, just being a kid and being an avid reader, just
Right.
kind of
Okay.
while we're writing.
So you were an avid reader. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So then how did you hear, how and when did you hear about Kindle Vella? Because it was brand spanking new in July 2021.
Mm-hmm. So a friend of mine through this writing group had published on Kindle Vella. And so we, had just got through with like NaNoWriMo and we were talking about like, wow, like we started out thinking that we couldn't write. And here we are, we have these longer versions of stories and things like that. And a friend of ours was like, yeah, like I publish on like Kindle Vella. So we had this idea of like, hey, why don't we publish on Kindle Vella, right? Like, how cool would that be, right? And to kind of get those nerves out, right? We were all scared. And so we started out on Kindle Vella and we published, right? And so that kind of was how it got started, just kind of, I'll say almost like a dare, like, hey, like,
Okay,
why don't
when?
you?
When?
Yeah.
When
Oh,
when did you do
a
it?
win? It was last year. Oh no, I'm sorry, this year in the spring, March of this year.
Oh,
Yeah.
so is that when you heard about it, or you heard about it like in January or?
We heard about it and it was in April, the end of April, we heard about it and we said, hey, let's, make a date and let's do this. So we did it
Wait a
in March.
minute, March comes before April.
Oh Lord help me. We was in February.
Okay. So the end of February, and then you published
in
at the end
March.
of March. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sorry to temporarily confuse you. Okay.
No worries.
Well, yeah. I couldn't make April come
And I was like, wait a
March.
minute. Yep.
No matter how hard I tried. Okay, so February, you heard about it. And this was from your morning muse people. Who's the other person that writes?
She goes by Soda, and she has a couple stories out there on Kindle Vella. And so that's, she was like, oh my gosh, yeah, I put my stories out there. And so we
Soda.
all, yes,
CODA.
yes, ma'am. And last name Khan.
CODAKAHN.
Yep, Soda Khan.
Okay. Cool. All right. So then you published your Vella. What did you think? So how frequently did you start, and which one did you put up first? Prophecy Trilogy or Twisted Romance?
Prophecy Trilogy went up first. And I started out posting pretty regularly, probably about 2 episodes a week. Then as it got closer to the end, I would do maybe some like bigger dumps, like maybe 5 episodes, and then in another week or two do another 5.
Okay. And having done that, which did you find rewarded you monetarily more?
mm. I think I will say some of the bigger dumps, but a caveat to that. So because Prophecy Trilogy is a longer story, right? So I feel like Twisted Romance, it was like I wanted to play around with doing like a shorter story. And I feel like that was a little bit more frequent with the reads because it just cost wise, right? So like if you read like a 30 or 50 chapter Vella, it starts to cost. And so in looking at some of the reviews, I found like folks like just hated like the coin system. So I said, let me play around with a shorter story. So I think, for me, coinage wise, a shorter story, 10 episodes was like really more of a payoff.
Okay. Okay. That's fair. My point was whether you noticed a difference in the monetary reward from the point where you had the frequency of uploading once or twice a week versus a 5 episode dump.
Not that I noticed. I feel like it was pretty even.
Okay. And were you happy with the compensation?
I was, as someone like I went from like no writing income to like some writing income, which helped to pay for an editor and some writing tools. So I found it very helpful monetarily.
What kind of writing tools did you buy?
Oh my gosh. So I brought Pro Writing Aid. I have a friend, she goes by Earified, and she does horror. And she got me hooked to lifetime deals. So I brought like SendFox, which is like a email marketing tool. InfoStack had this really great, kit of writing tools and website builders and things like that. So I just went like a frenzy with this little bit of extra income. So it was nice.
Wow, that's good. Well, spreading it around, that's
Right.
that's what should happen, is to spread it around in the industry so everybody gets a bite.
Yeah.
you know so anyway, that's pretty cool. And tell me about your prophecy. It's you've built it as a trilogy. That's absolutely wonderful. I think it's it's very ambitious. uh I don't use that word myself because I'm so afraid that I won't get to that third book. But tell me about Prophecy Trilogy. So Portal, that's up there right now, is going to be book one. I take it.
Correct.
Okay. How many episodes is it? I think you're done, right?
I am. And so I have it pulled up because I was like, at how many at this point? It is 53 episodes.
53 and done.
53 and done.
Okay. So what is it about? What does book one cover? What do we learn? Where do we
Absolutely.
go?
So Book one is about my main character Tabitha, and it is I would say a self-discovery novel, right? So I play around with themes of like power in regards to she starts off thinking that because her voice isn't super strong or super loud that she's not strong, she's not powerful, and by the end she realizes she doesn't have to be anyone else but be herself. And in addition to her learning about herself, she also learns about her elemental abilities, right? So it takes place in this land called Zodia, and there's elemental magic. So people are able to literally have fire from fingertips or use the wind to create portals or attacks. And so you'll see a lot of different characters use their elemental abilities, and she's just trying and failing, and she tries to be someone else at some point in the novel and fails horribly and makes a big mess. And then she learns, you know what, why don't I just try and just be me and see if that works out.
Well, that's pretty cool. That's
Thank
a
you.
good theme. And what would you think, what would you call your audience for this book? Would you call this YA, or is this mid-grade, or what is it?
So I am marketing for adults. I see my characters, I reason I wanted to do this was because, as adults, right? Sometimes like we need to remember, like, just show up as you, just show up and take space as yourself. And also, I'm a little bit on the older side, right? So in my 30s, right? And I'm like, we need to see,
In
people
your 30s, you're a little bit on the older side.
we're not like YA, we're a little bit
Oh my God, help me.
I'm like, where are our heroes, right? We deserve to have like women who are just take charge and who are having adventures, and that they're grown. And so she's grown and she's having an adventure and she's still figuring life out.
I'm just not even talking to you anymore. Ancient thing. She's ancient. She's in her 30s, y'all. Well, my God, I write like, well, I don't know what the hell. Do you call like Harry Potter YA? Is that what they call it?
Why not?
Is Harry Potter YA? I don't know. I think it is.
I think so.
I target that audience.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So if you were going to say, hey, I target this author's audience, who would that be?
Oh, that's a good one. And I struggle with that
It's
because
a
I go,
damn good one.
it is. And I struggle because I immediately go to the authors that I aspire to be, which are like the Janet Ivanovich or James Patterson or N.K. Jemisin. I love the way, if I could like mix all of them together, that's the author I would love to be. So if I had to pick one um, type of author for prophecy, I would have to say, I'm gonna go with James Patterson. It has a little bit of like
Woo!
it has some thrill in it. It has some,
Holy crap.
yeah, like that's what I aspire for.
Well,
I
that's
mean,
nice.
it's baby step. It's not there yet, but it's baby step there.
Well, I'm calling James Patterson tomorrow. Like I
That's
could.
on my
Anyway,
number.
wouldn't that be fun though? Wouldn't it be fun? I would really love to figure out a freaking way to like get to Stephen King
Oh,
and get him to do, because I know if I could get to the guy, I think he would do it.
right.
Because Vella is a brand new platform. It's got a big horror audience. And I'm not saying he'd write for it, but I know that he would probably get on and encourage new
Yeah.
writers and stuff.
Mhm.
But how do you even get to these people? How do you get to these people? You don't
TikTok.
have that secret, do you?
Nah, I'm just gonna say TikTok. I feel like TikTok solves everything.
Yeah. I tried TikTok. I don't think it's TikTok. I think I might get to him through the old ass Twitter.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yes, old ass Twitter is taking it's getting a new breath. There's a whole new wave of people on it.
Yes.
You know,
It's
especially
making a
since they
comeback.
opened it up and you can have a picture. Before it was like, here, express your deepest feelings in these 12 characters we give you for this fucking tweet.
Yes.
You
Yes.
remember? And
Yes.
you're like, what? I can't
What am
say
I gonna
shit in
say?
this.
Yes.
But now it's changed. And so I think that a bunch of people, younger people, this is my opinion. We're going off on a tangent here. This is a tangent. This is a lawless tangent. But it's my humble opinion that a bunch of people that were younger or sort of in between, like in their late 20s, their 30s, got sick of Facebook over all the political crap. Okay. And they didn't like TikTok because when you first look at TikTok, you go, what is this? And you throw your phone.
You're not wrong, because a lot of my friends have, especially like over the last year and a half, have left Facebook and they're all on Twitter. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
why don't I
Yeah.
see
And
their
the tweets are big. And it
yeah.
seems like, you know, the genuine like stars and stuff are out there. But you can't get to them. That's the thing. You can't get to them, but they're there and they tweet and shit. It's weird. Anyway, so we were talking about your book. Oh my God, I wrote it down. So the portal, and it's
Yeah.
one of three in the trilogy. And have you written the others yet?
No, but I have an idea of where I want to go for book 3. Book 2, there are some scenes, right? I'll say there's about 5,000 words. But I will work on that probably next year after I finish my edits with the prophecy and officially get that one launched. Then I'll be able to think about book 2. But
Now I want to ask you this.
yeah.
You're a young writer. You seem hip to the big skinny. So are you going to use the polls at the ends of the episodes? Are you going to use those polls to sort of poll your readers as to what they want to see in book 2?
So I should have done that, and I actually might go and update some of the polls. I've used the polls, and I didn't really know how to use them, and I was like, what do I do with this?
Right, right, right,
And then
right.
in looking at some other folks and the way they use them, I would have went back and been more intentional. Like I asked folks maybe like about the scene. I think I might have had 1 or 2 questions about like, hey, are you ready for the next one, or things like that. But I
Well, you
would
did
have
a
been
lot better
more
than me.
I would have been more intentional if I went back.
Yeah. Well, I get that for sure. Um, so yeah, so maybe the next book you can do that sort of thing, because I noticed that is sort of trending right now
Right.
with writers. It's the only vehicle that the writers have to
Correct.
engage with the
Mm-hmm.
audience on Vella right now. And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of writers are using it a lot like they did in their fan fiction sites, you know, and just sort of using it to develop the story
Mm-hmm.
the way that the audience who's already glommed onto it wants to see.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty nice. That's a pretty nice way to be able to go about it. And Kindle, you can kind of do that. Kindle Vella, you definitely can.
Right.
So then you decided, hey man, now did you write these suckers during NaNoWriMo?
So prophecy I did, twisted romance. I again I have to shout out Morning Muse. We had so each week someone does different writing prompts. And Danny Williams, who I believe was also on your show, had did the prompts. And I said, well, since she writes romance, let me try and do romance. And the prompt was you look good together, odd but good. And I really liked the scene. And I said, you know what? Let's see where this goes. And from there, I made my 10-episode Vella Twisted Romance, which is we'll say like a murder mystery and a second chance romance.
Wow, cool.
Thank you.
Who are the main characters in Twisted Romance?
Yeah, so we have Sydney. She is the main femme fatale, we shall say. And you know, at the end, we'll, you know, again, you'll make your own judgments about Sydney and who she is, and, you know, but we see her role in this. And then we have Thomas, right? He's the second chance romance, right? He's trying to get Sydney back, but she has a fiance, right? And, you know,
Ooh.
yeah. And you find out in the first chapter that, you know, there's a murder, right? And so I'll leave you to guess who gets murdered in this. And, you know, so I think it's a fun story. I never thought myself as writing a romance, but I had a lot of fun with this.
Oh, really? Wow. That's awesome. Well, romance is where it's at, dude.
Oh my, the romance stories on Kindle Vella,
I'm telling you, man.
always on the top.
Telling you,
Oh,
man. It's where it's at. The he and shein. I don't
yep.
think it'll ever change.
Mm-mm.
That's what people want to read about. Hell, that's what they want to do.
Facts.
So, so yeah, shout out to my romance writer friends. Because I'm kind of like you. I was like, I don't think I can. I just don't think I can. But maybe I can. Now, did you put some spice in there? And I'm not talking about pumpkin spice. I'm talking about spice.
So I'll put the Liz Bullard brand of spice in it. So there is a scene what, you know, has a little bit of, you know, a little touch and a little bit of loving. It's not super explicit like I think the romance community likes, but it's a little bit more than a closed door. So you get some sensory and you get some descriptions, but again, not like full on spice.
Yeah, okay. All right. Now let's talk about this.
Yeah.
I am going to stop recording for a second, people, because I don't want you to hear all this I'm going to say to her. So there. I had to get a lesson in what the spice level is nowadays, y'all. I'm just gonna say, whoa, uh, whoa, caliente. It's like one of those peppers where you eat it and oh my God, the top of your head blows off. You're not, your
Yeah.
nose starts spewing. Oh God. Okay. So, she writes mild spicy in her twisted romance. Okay. And, that is awesome. Now, what's the plan for the next fella?
Oh my gosh. All right. So I have a corgi named Preston. Yes. And so I think I posted the first episode of The Adventures of Preston, and it
I love it.
and you know
Freaking love it.
it's going to be more youthful. So I would say between ages 8 to 10, with the hope of one day maybe turning it into like an illustration. But I'm just playing around with making like 10 episodes of like him and his little adventures. And like hopefully you can learn some lessons. Like you know, Preston tries his best, you know, but things go wrong, you know, things about sharing and things like that. So that's the next thing I'm going to work on. Slower than, so Twisted Romance, I had all the 10 episodes and I just posted and said it was complete. With this one, I think I'm going to go more like a traditional Vella and just put them out as I do them. So this one's going to be a lot slower.
Okay. Nice.
Thank
So
you.
do you do your own editing, or heard you say you hired an editor, but that was for a completed Vella that you're going to turn into a book, right?
Mm-hmm. So what I have been doing is like I'll write it and I'll kind of like use like pro writing aid and I'll just kind of relook at it before I post it on Vella.
Yeah.
Um, and then I'm kind of using that as kind of like my proofreading. And then I will send it out to someone. So I'm still playing around with different editors and things like that because I am new to this writing business.
Right.
So um,
Right.
I
I'm
used
like
an
that.
editor. I thought she was great. But again, I'm just going to kind of play around and see, you know, who works with my style, who kind of meets my needs. So that's kind of where
Exactly.
I am.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. Okay. So now I want to ask you, we know that you've written some successful villas, and how you doing out there on the social media?
Okay, so I've just gotten serious with my social media over the past month, and I'm not mad with, you know, I'm getting a little bit more engagement, a little bit more followers. Right now, I am on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And so in the last 30 days, I think it was Instagram, I had like 3,000 views. Um, Facebook had about the same. So overall, over the course of 30 days, I'm getting more views with more consistent content. So anyone out there who's just like, I'm not seeing any, growth, just be consistent, at least 4 to 5 times a week, have some consistent content going out there, do something to build community, whether it's like polls or asking your audience a question, but it's really be consistent and you'll see that growth.
Yeah, I believe that. I was posting on TikTok and I was getting a certain audience, but and are you talking about TikTok now?
TikTok as well, like just that consistency. I feel like TikTok is really good when you do like poll questions or ask the audience this. I'm not one, like I can't do the trends, right? I'm not that cool to do the trends and the dance moves, but I can do a poll and like that works. So definitely like find your thing and like just be consistent with it.
Right, right. And yes, you will get not only followers, but you get views.
Correct.
So Facebook been working out for you?
Surprisingly, right? Because I was like, oh, Facebook's not really gonna, but yeah, like it's again, that steady growth is coming, views. I don't get as much interaction on Facebook. That's definitely not my target, like my audience. They don't interact. They'll view, I'll get a couple likes. Um, unless when it's book promotion stuff, right? So if I'm just like, hey, this here is free, go do that. That works really good on Facebook, but Instagram and TikTok show me a little bit more love.
Yeah, really? Okay. Well, that's good to hear. Um, so if you've been reading Vella's, which I know that you must have, right?
Yes.
Do you have anybody that you want to particularly shout out on your interview here? Are there any that stand out that you'd like to recommend to the folks watching this video?
All right. I get to do like 3 or 4.
Yes.
All right. So first one up is 60, a crime reporter story by Ursula Marcher.
What?
You're Yes,
Say it
60,
again.
60, a crime
60.
reporter story
Uh-huh.
by Ursula Marcher.
Good.
And that is a thriller. You have a favorite of mine that's kind of just like if the world was a better place. Eleos Experiment, which is a sci-fi dystopian.
Spell it.
Elio, want me to put it in the chat?
Yeah.
All right, let me copy and paste. There we go. And it's by Casey Meaux. I'm gonna put it right in the chat. There's one. Let me get you
Oh, okay. Got it. Got it. Got it. The Eleos experiment. Nice. And then
there's that one, the first one I mentioned. And I will do where is her story? What Happened by Yvette Edwards. This is a really great story as well about like a family secret and what happens when you keep secrets in the family. And then my last one that I will shout out is Sinnerman, Where Are You Gonna Run To? A Regina Grant Mystery by Ngozi Robinson. And you are going to fall in love with this character, Regina. She is witty. It's a cozy mystery. It's very cute. And again, it's only like 10 episodes, so it's a quick read. So What Happened is also complete. The other 260 and Eleos are ongoing stories, but these are all folks that I write with daily and they are wonderful.
oh wow, that's cool. So these are people in your muse group.
Yes, ma'am.
Your morning muse group.
Can I shout out one more?
You may.
All right, so you are going to really want to read this. This is called Necessary Creatures, and it's by Anita Fowler. And it is, I'm telling you, I almost peed my pants the first episode laughing. She has like the spin on horror, but she adds comedy. It is hilarious, and it's following these three boys, and they get into some grossly horrific situations. Definitely read Necessary Creatures by Anita Fowler.
Necessary Creatures.
Yep, and that's a 12-story completed Vella.
Okay, very good. Got it. Got it.
Right, that's it. That's it. That's all I'm shouting out today.
Well, yeah, because that's your whole group. Yeah, I know. I know what time it is. So, well, then we come to my last sticky question, and that is, if you woke up tomorrow and found yourself suddenly having been given the job as the head of Kindle Vella, what would you do, if anything, to change or improve it?
Oh my gosh, there's like so many things, but the first thing that comes to mind is making it more accessible for writers to go from Vella to we'll say like a traditional book. I feel like a lot of folks try and navigate that and it can be really hard. There's things to consider like ISBN numbers, a cover, editing, all of that stuff. So
Mhm.
being able to have that transition be a little smoother, because some readers just aren't going to be reading like serial reading. And so just again, Amazon wants folks to put their book on Amazon, so making that transition a little easier.
Okay. Like having some kind of utility within the upload frame to actually go to book.
Right, like some type of one-stop shop or something that it's like, hey, like this is the Amazon package, like we'll do it all for you, but here's like this is the fee or something like that.
Right, right. Okay. So that's one. You got
Mm-hmm.
anything else?
No, I'm gonna go with that one. Final answer.
Okay. Final answer. Final answer. So on these videos, I always put in the description of the video, I always put links to your work and the work of the people that you shout out.
Oh, nice.
And mine also goes in there too, because it's a
Fantastic.
huge box, but yours always goes first. So, and it's always visible right there at the top. What would you like to say as a published author now, brand new, to the people who are clicking on your links in this video description and giving you a little time with their eyeballs?
Oh, okay. So what I would say is definitely click the link because you're going to see the two Vellas. You're going to see my email subscription sign up. And when you sign up for my email, you will get to get a freebie. So I have a book that is not on Vella, but it's on Amazon to buy. And if you sign up for my newsletter, you get it free. And the book is called Snowfall. And that's kind of like you'll get to see the characters of the Prophecy series, and you just kind of get to hang out with them, learn about them, learn about the world, as they navigate some wintry wonderfulness, we'll say. So click
Wintry
the link,
wonderfulness.
wintry wonderfulness. So sign up for the email list and you'll get that freebie.
Excellent, excellent. Well, that sounds good. That's a good thing to say to people who you are uh trying to get to look at your work. Hey, have something free.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Liz, it's been a pleasure talking to you, getting to know you, and I will be looking at your Vellas, and I wish you every success out there.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity. And thank you for, introducing me to your audience.
Oh, you bet. You bet. Have a great day, everybody. Peace out. Read your Vellas.
Bye.
Bye.